And it has nothing to do with health. It has to do with government control. If you go online and look up public health, if you find an honest definition, it will say improvement of the health of the public through government mandates and control. That is what public health is. It is not about health, and it is not for your benefit. What people don't realize is that public health has been coming to force their mandates on people for hundreds of years, including, I've seen pictures of the great demonstrations with hundreds of thousands of people trying to stop forced vaccinations in Canada and other places in the early 1900s. But everyone today wants to believe that the Holocaust was merely an anti-Semitic spasm. The Holocaust was merely the most efficient implementation of public health. When the Nazis came to power, and you could read the books from the people at the time, the Germans who opposed the Nazis, they talk about how the mind games that were played, pitting people against each other, how they got control of the population in the name of public health. And they started immediately sterilization campaigns against the German population for anyone who was not worthy of having children.
Wow. And
then later on in 1938, they started the euthanasia campaign for lives unworthy of life.
What?
The doctors who euthanized the patients who were terminally ill, disabled children, and burdens on the healthcare system. As someone sent me yesterday a poster in German from the 1930s showing a picture of a disabled man in a wheelchair, and it said 60,000 Reichsmarks. This man is costing you 60,000 Reichsmarks per month to keep him alive. Preparing the population to have him eliminated because he's a burden on the healthcare system. He is not worth taking care of. He is a life unworthy of life. And so they started to euthanize the people. And when the German population found this out, they rose up and made demonstrations. So Nazis were forced to retreat on the gassing of these patients and instead starve them in their hospital beds and overdose them with medicine to eliminate them. These same doctors became the doctors in the death camps. Every Jew who came to a death camp was met by a doctor who made a selection. Are you essential or are you not essential?
Wow.
Are you worthy of being able to be productive and work? You go to this side of life. If you look like a person who can't be essential, you go to this side, God forbid, of death. And that was done by doctors. The same doctors that were eliminating the sick and unwell became the doctors to run the death camps. So, what terminology is used today? Who is essential and who is not essential?
Right.
If you don't meet the government's definition, and it was never voted on, there's no legislation anywhere that says essential or not essential. If you don't meet the definition of essential, you are not allowed to make a living. You are forced to either starve or become a ward of the state. This is public health because they're telling you it's for your benefit, but they are deciding who is essential and not essential, whose lives are worthy of life and unworthy of life.